Now, your topic in the psychology of human sexual orientation in the week of LGBTQI something discussions. Yeah, Baba Bonkomo, psychologist, no. Dear no more canvas asem we say. But before that, the Mamenko Studio 2, na mene Honorable Adam Smith, Renampuri, electoral area. Honorable Kwame Asamoah, Bebieni Estate, electoral area, Assemblyman, and Honorable Abdallah Adam Mohammed, Zungu electoral area. Penny for me, Mama Ju.
Yeah,
Abdallah Zay. Adam Smith. What economics partner?
Father of accounts.
Mati. Bravo,
boss.
Now what is it?
A general don't be able to call.
Edeyamiase. Na so de nka me no babon komo agi se babie ni me ko fu mu anankaja. Ya bon komo babie ni anwumre wa mane ya.
You made it. And no man koso ye e babie wo phone wo no. Nti say anhwe ne amma meto am won kran ha say ne ka se ye tena fum ho no ma. Eno abaji nsem. Ene say de ato wa ha na anwumre.
Okay. Adam Smith me pesa me no e sha ase. What is the issue?
Yomini wa mada wa sena machia watifu anwumre. MZ issue no enhyeda anye bokosa. Yenyina ayo ha na omampanyini nominee na MCs ni DCs
nominate no
nominate wo mo enti mra na kire se nominate within 21 working days o se yeto mo so aba na bibie ni so ni presiding member enti yenimse presiding member nko na timi fresh meeting no enti yeto yen kan bi chem Sunday twam na 1 week ye ho na yenya course se mesin ko se omo e confirm MC. Yes, we dey no kure because we dey mra na koma my letters. Nti mu bitu anan ko na no kure na etuo ekuta police for na soldier for regional minister na office we also e don ba bibie ni o mo twahye assembly hall no ho no na ukọ kura na bitu maku. Nti ya ntimi anko ho mo ye wie e bo ne powder. Nti ye pese ye bisa regional minister na say Ghana mra no ne dia ana on na hye ne nsam. Ono etimi ebe preside me yi e confirm MC because obi betimi preside me confirm MC just assembly member nipa ni kwa so MC ana se MP empo regional minister ode mratimi share ne nsam efi se we also di police for se eku na no ba be set se dan yu yintimi nkere nti na aka na dwi ame aba PC na dwubri ti unhu ya ha ye nsam poka krenti e de ba ye no
I see. Abdallah. Then how was our process way now? Omo to aba na da omo nye assembly members.
Yo, you better ask you. No question is omo assembly members. Say the nyina esinim emra no. Na wo hwe structure na bibia na so be kwa municipal assembly no. Your 52 assembly members are 36 elected and 16 appointees. Na wo hwe election wey course na 19 and e ko 2 aba no. We say dey twa mu now 16 government appointees and 3 elected assembly members. We share ebi mu nsem kra mo kan kra na e che say say dey sibo mama ne no yan kan chom so beto aba na mo du go na putupu ye say omo enkoye bibisa no eti no kwase ma ewo ni say dey say kan no sa meeting na ye di frɛ ebeto ebe confirm MC no presiding member nko na was atumi no na ye ni presiding members wo bibia ni as we kwai e na ye regional minister e be ye sa ku no e wo bibia ni sambre
Enti Bravo.
Yes, our boss.
Okay, say ya to aba ya confirm MC na wi. What is it? DNBC because moko so ba form our MC dey asama.
Na so ka say ye koso ba form our MC ya. Me no enya adwen.
Sir.
Dabi because our penyin say ye citizen. Me ye spectators. Na ya kire kwan ye fa so a ye confirm chief executive. Say o share order 15 na also letter commission ebe inform the coordinating director or inform we are and I'm say a year election and I say yeah assembly duty no I was say couldn't that and inform the presiding member no afraid for a meeting assembly no so no you walk a kwan ya fa so a edidi adwuma meetings ne kwan pa emra mu no emra nche say also what can date time and a venue ni nyina ne emra o ma elete bia wafo bi se bra ni eni nkoma ho se akoto aba enti yen de yen jintum enne enyi ntum tira na mum no e won sunsan so sisi ansa o hwe enne ya ye kase a wakoto bi wo so aman so wakoto bi dwabo so enne okoto aba no frɛ pesade member nso ɔwɛ ɛna ɔso wa tukwan na ɔso okay 15 minutes to ɔbɛ frɛ no pesade member ne frɛ no wa mua ɛna ɔmo de aba no kwɛsɛ former district chief executive ni fie ɛna ɔmo kɔto aba no nipa 8 out of 23 and sɛ wohwɛ ɛnɔɔma ɛkɔ so wɔ yɛwura dan kwaku botwe na brɛ so a ɛya ɛfi sɛ yɛnim
na ɔno deɛ sɛ ɔno dan botwe wayɛ den
ɔno yɛ sector minister ɔno na ɔne electoral commission ɛwɔ sɛ ɔmo hwɛ sɛ yɛbɛto saa aba no because a man ɛmmɔ regional minister bi adi ɔno na ɛyɛ sector minister ɛna asɛm no so a ɛɛkɔ no wate and so we din dia na say wo no na wo direct na minister nso ba bibie no ni din na oboy but the question is say Ewura Dambotwe say okre a odan sa no mani bi call so ho no ma menwi say enka ebe ni finance fa zoom say aban fufuro bi na ewo so e na oda sa sumo adia enya dia obeti ase because say ka amanyo sema ewo Ghana ha se a Ewura Dambotwe wodi mu akotene pa en woni de ewum amre bi kra no nenka ope se oye frankatuni e de ma amayeko wom sisi a aminim say our future when it comes to political ayi e wo mamas they say under his watch only small ministry they say sanu we ya esisi no enen enkoyi sante ye boni din no ye money din se bia na dwuma no ye no e na ye hu because ye betete region ye dey share nsa no perform e pa amobia bonabaso ben prepare the adwuma ye dey amane dey ye ne no because what ma regional ministers ni bi edi na adwuma no anim edwutwu form and this I want to ye then you made the fact peace cause of the so aka chance say wada on sorry nemo ne asi bebie ni anwa so be kwane de enya de a ye bejam because oman ye nyina ye man ena ya tre kwan a ye mfa so a yenyi chief executive and you say ye trans say ye hwe han de a na say ba be ye ade a ebe da ho no ma enchirima no ba beto so say ye mrane ye mfa mrane ye adwuma na ya the question is say sisi na assembly na wo ye mra e de ma mensini no and now the mrane ni edwutwu form and this how ko ye mrane ni plan so ani mrane so e de na be no and this the time also ye fighting nearby the writing and I was say they say be ko akosi time a o mampanyi e beti ene ene Ewura Dambotwe e beti ene na waka che ministers ade bia wa ye bia o western of bia no amfa mra kwanso no momfa mra kwanso fa nkwa ye dwuma and this is some of us ye nanne ye nachna ye koso aka nana nyame bua ya wada so the wo please from the mataba no etre mutibi bia obehu nipadoma ebepio bibie ni abonten so ye no mutiago mo se ye che ye ne mra ne mestate ye kire no because enne no de obi ani ate no obi ehu nyansa so omo ntram obi mfa ne tumi en se on for man tumi ne fa nse ne botom and this year no say ya ye hu ache but the time I was say ye pia abonten asam ne ba ye no say kwese de twem na wotwe and then say en campaign-fo be ba abonten abeka sa de we e course no antwe ye enti omunjai and o ma ye nhwa ama central region central region starting from western of and ADD a echo ni question say o man ye fa pem no ye fa since now we say Cape Coast yɛse yɛde MP kura mpo yɛkɔtwe ne fi platform so ɛma yɛ bɔbɔ no ɛnti sɛ nka ewuo bi pie mo hɔ no ma na ɔman ni yɛkyekyere ɔman anaasɛ yɛbutu ɔman no ɛnti yɛwura minister na ɔbɛbɔ odin na yɛnyina yɛbɔ sɛ de odin na ɔbɛto adwa no sɛ ɛnɔɔma nkɔ yi a ɔmmra abɔnten normal me condemn sa act no ne nyina ntimi move on.
Okay, Brother, my main business question. My last but one question for you. Entisa MC Monen Bayajuma.
This year, dear, and purpose, a mamma tono so about. There's no way 33 elected assembly members, no Bayajuma because
Ematon Sabasa Abana Yato Dane.
Yantoi Abana to because Emremuno, the regional minister and team have a presiding meeting. Ewo assembly on year assembly member. And as I share order 17 watch any power was your presiding member. Was he assembly members? Ye mubi and a member presiding member. Was it MC in count and MP in count? And yet, even in your Juma, if we say the 33 no, electoral area. Now what for me 3 and when it's 3 assembly members no, and Obako Yomo Juma that electoral and I go so good. All the 5 unit committee members no, Omina support ye. And yet, in your Juma. Adwuma de sisi sɛ akɔkɔto ne so aba ne ehun sɛ nyina yakɔkɔ sasantre ɛna yato aba ɛna wanya 2 tests no ɛna so ma yɛ letter o ma letter na ye de ne ma ne so edam sunkun sɛ ye ni president ma ye ma obi a letter ɛna yɛsesa venue but other areas simple almost sa venue ɛna bi sa time ba ye de ni nyina no ebie no mo timi ɛyɛ saa ade no ɛntie de sɛ ebetumi na yɛ adwuma sɛ yato no so aba Emran just yan tono so aba o man panyi boni din a o se aseme man fo no etono so aba na o mo gini tum wange so o man panyi boni din a onkono nko ye adwuma and this still na yen kesa your sovereignty no na regional minister no edidi agro no say one yewura dambotwe na man sa akwenya man be sa de no
Mate Adam Smith
menu ya ma
maminte wase betwa to
Mas me twa to ne se adekonti a ye ni abrebe ne se yan sori anyina se change of government ba sa no bia ba oba be ye because man so ye kure nkusi aga but o man no so ye de mra na kyekyere ye nti obi antimi emfa mra nhyɛ ne se obi ane oso sene mra enu ti ne ye ni abe no sisi a ye firi akwa nyame bia adom efiare di bibie ni dwa ye kofa dwam ye ma obi anje tax yama obia enje tax empo no yepese yakoto assembly nim because ye na assembly ne ye de anti so opese of assembly na regional minister assembly ne nyane de a entina ye ne ambre den no udin fa mra nche o se ade se na obia de mra be hye ne nsam ka ban bia ba o se mebo MC di ana kuduru aro makɔhye wo so mato aba no ye nso so ma sa mra na meka ho o se set precedence to na da achi bia ne bia nsi biem enti ya wada ye koye demonstration efiada na the following week no so I started Wednesday up to Friday enti enye demonstration ketwa electoral area bia be produce nipa 500 into times 33 a e bebre
COVID brain
ye be pa ye be follow protocols no
Mate Honorable Abdallah
Nana
Pacho maminte wase betwa to
Nana ye ni no kra wo mni se sa wo hwe kwan e fa so dream kwan e fa so ye wura Alfred Amoa the president nominee na entwaye eti no no crampo no say no as MC no oni moral right bia so betimi afre don bi akasa akiro mo fa mra kunini a wo Ghana ya mu Ghana man mu if say wan kasa no mra no kura na ye de ya adwuma no nya sa kwan no so na e fa so eyi wo as MC eti no kwan ben na wo na tumi ben ana audacity ben na wo betimi afre say wo ba be kan mra ho asem a kire eti we eye as na mo ba kwa ye tu a be ha adwin pa yi say ye se ye de mra na be ya adwuma wo mai mu na ye pese ye ni twa butu na e kire no sebi o ye san so e be dan na ye hu say ye ayifo eti no kura wo mu ni say nana ye ni abri pa ye say de minianum e ka no na ye be fa mra kwan so e dey fighting for your right if say wo hwe 33 elected assembly members ya nya akwanya anko to abana ye representing electoral area eti wo hwe indirectly na ye manfo na omuto abama ye no e na ya mpene e mo mankyere o madwen e no no se omu ene yesi omana mu na emum no ade a omu pese ye koye ma omu no omu amboa e ma ya ntimi anye nti no ye be demonstration na afensu no sa fee fixing na ye ni anase ye ni budget nti no ye ni fee fixing nti no obi a ni ntumi so obetimi akọ ticket bia e wo dwom no ni nyina nso ye be make sure say ntimi emba so say mra ne che say fee fixing no yi say ni man no ehia na yetimi determine de obetimi atua ene kwa mbefa so atua no say isu no ye ni presiding member kra na yatima frame meeting akotena sa discuss about fee fixing ni ade enti no wonni sa kwan anase sa tumi no so obetimi aye bibisa enti say no MC ni dey say also bisa menu akwame asama no for now ni dey yentimi ene ni nya adwuma na yenjini ntum so legal and rightful MC e wo bibia ni aso kwa municipal assembly
am kwame asama mpacho asme twato
yo na yo masme twato say nyambo a yenwan mo wo sehwi bibia ni anwaso be kwai a o moto aba e de maye no ye domase any fra o mafre ne no mo say nkran na ya ka chom so omomo obo ho nyankopon ya aduma na na ya kese na nkasa ya wada obeba bibie ni no abehwe edom no no ohun ni padodo a omo etaye assignment members no achi na emma ye ni kan say ye wo party akese mienu ene wo ekrom oman mu ase nanso oba bibie ni anwas be ko yasem we say no all the two party nyina no aka bum so we die entwaye entino ye nyina aka bum e ba be ye kire na yama yewra regional minister ne yewra down kwakubotwe honorable ehun say you free class na emum Nyankopon abie ye ni entino ya prepare se ni aka bie de be ye adwuma na emum ne be famra kwan so na ye de aye se ye ko se o mai japade ne de dabi ko ye se na eye eto amanfo to sika na ye de eye sa na emum no you make sure say ye nse hwe na ye be ko ama the sector minister no atias no aba into our 8 na yama pepepe ye e de ye adwuma e wo man mu ase
mate madam ase adwumre
eso da
Honorable Adam Smith Hwenampuri electoral area assembly member Honorable Kwame Asamoah state electoral area assembly member na Honorable Abdallah Adam Mohammed Zongo electoral area assembly member baby ani anwaso be kwa asem na ye kan Western North platform and wasungu so utie meba for the platform and waso egusu a utie sena medical abomo amane no me ne me papa Professor Joseph Osafo Professor yi ono wonye professor keke asesi ano eja na no asem ni ntino obo obia title na obo obia title obo a na wachirim so atase obo a na wachirim am yehu say we na woka no enye saa ni bia enti saa professor we no Professor Joseph Osafo woye obi a wasua nwoma abomu professor na osuro nyaminti odi nyame sofo so hu osuro nyaminti we nyame sofo e Pentecost sofo papa na adwuma de doso but we do a professor papa pa a je se wa tumu se enkwa wom we prof die we no bi na mankwa no sa prof we no no eno na ni das wo ezi apa so osman for podcast say senka hunamu ne mai mun ko anti ne o Christ mo da so dia ka ni pa nyina mu mobrofo ya be ya me hu say say po wo kan ya ho mo say sa buku ye mun ti ne o Christ mo da so a ya me se enga no krenga ya mobo but Christo nti enwie sa prof
Nana, the
papa
cardinal.
majo
Major Sminia.
number jo what is saying
Very adom na so e.
ya me no prof say me hu wa mante ya ba o
Say, eja, mbere me ho akwata kakra.
there be sense still asokra e fe say pope ba say pope ba archbishop or master is am boss ho dia me no tension
Nana, mbere me ho akwata kakra. Na say de ekosu yi de. Na ya na atwo ho na wa reflect kakra. So o him say
ebe
de ekwi ebe
yi prof ya da say nwumre hye wanya ye ho adaje na abusafo ma menka se enkoma ye ne prof etwetwen se wo adwenkyere anase mbisa bia a wo pese wo de ba number ne ye ba ko pe 0556 700 pacho memfre o mo start frɛ a medum line no na boy nyina nti memfre because me pese show yi me no mieru nyina na ye na eso aba e de ma ye nyina nti emfre de maka no umye nyina ye mfa no saa na enye simple e ma ye mesrem a why nti mo bia mfre so boda munya mo bia mfre ne nyina ye ni nkomo na bibia enye kama prof ya samu akwa babiem
Jesu na.
yo ho behia se ye to nsafrew na eja nimdia nyame e de amawo na afi wa nkasa nso ahobrase a wo wasua de na wanya abodin no odi bi ebedom man isanse ba bi a edu sesi e no man ni hia na manim difu ni nyina ye ho ene yete se yewura no mrahye bedwafo bi na ye maame no binom wo mo e de bill eko emrahye bedwam se yanya mrantia bema ono de ose one bema ne da oba ose ono de ni wiase owo no ono oba ne da ene de eke ka ho ni nyina LGBTQI prime whatever me say prof I feel me say first time who am say na the transformation above master so a subject akwana mpepa topic akwana mpepa the transformation hey adam say na we so transformation wo
Adani na eko
ni mo na eko say on say plus na da ho no and am who say no say oma aye allowance for future expansion eti bibi den prof bibi ba be ka ho eti na esese yesu ade kakra efa ho ye pese ye hwa ade enti asem na yesu ho ade nwumre yi no o say the psychology of human sexual orientation prof mami fi asie sei
yo
ede na ma ye ka se nipa we oyo ba ena we ye bema
yo me da se me chia atifo answer na me komanim no me pese me some disclaimers the di kind no pese me chere enkrofo bebia ni me bia ebetumi I influence my thoughts my ideas madwene said me si hu enema fa ewo saa ade ho the di kind no me a psychologist said the kind no I'm a qualified practicing clinical psychologist no as a psychologist be influence me lens said me si hu ade fa and your one the tell be no me a minister of the gospel and also a lens back on so me de hwe sa case yana ankoma ibidi itia me nsa no me a parent and me mofra me show enti me parent me parental position and also ka ho we yan free ho na ya me a practitioner medical practitioner you bit many psychologists are we purely research what you know say be a open person ni memu na odi to dwanko me I'm not just a psychologist, I'm a person name to dwa me also obia me share me practice it because me practice ya ɛkyɛ sɛ mehwɛ sɛ obi ho aba asɛm wɔnya amane asɛm bi ato no na ohia mmoa nti I'm also a practitioner.
Okay.
Na kyɛ sɛ wohwɛ bɛyɛ this 4 positions yi a ne nyinaa bɛtumi influence me nkɔmmɔdie ɛfa current issue na yɛka ho asɛm no nti mpɛ sɛ me make this disclaimers clear. Afei maka ne sɛ awie no membra wo question a ɔtoma me no so ɛdeɛn ɛne yɛma yɛhunu sɛ ɔsomasi ɛyɛ ɔbaa anaa ɔbɛma na na tiatia science kyerɛ sɛ yɛwo ɔfa afura akwaraa na ɛwɔ nipadua mu no adane ɛbɛba ɔbɛma no ho nsuo no a afra ɔbaa no ho nsuo no ɛbɛdi adane saa na adane yi mu no na nnuro bi ɛne sɛdeɛ nature at least yɛbɛnka no nature ɛpɛ sɛ adaneɛ no ɛkɔ so no bosome yɛ akron akyi no na wawo a doctor no anaa nurse na ɔgye wawo no ɔbɛyɛ a few tests bi na ne first experience a ohunu sɛ ɔbɛhwɛ akora no ne sexual organs.
Okay.
In fact, before say ɛbɛwɔ kora no na saa nurse na doctor no hɛ no ebi kɔ na ɔkɔtwa mfonyini akɔhwɛ sɛ ɔpɛ sɛ ohun the sex of the child na ɔmo ɛde machine yɛsi so ɛde ahwehwɛ a pushing here and there ɔsi ɔyɛ bɛrima ebi wɔ ha otumi hu ne clear sɛ we can even see the sexual organs na ɔde kyerɛ sɛ wɔadi bɛyɛ bi a na ɔhwɛ nsia bosome nsia
normally free 18 weeks how on there na develop fully
develop who say we me be oba be ma be oba ba ente wo wie ya happy na form na on feelings no mo se bi a date of birth ma me ni din akra no ne weight they wo no
birth weight
ni nyina na wa choro na sex mo se be attraction o be a female and a male see from that angle, let you say, no, or chiro the gender of the child no at birth. Say when we based on sexual organs. But yen now so nim say, and yet you who no kwa and a bit me determine say be a crown or your banner. If you honor man don't be a only peduano, a woman at Danino, and Dani in Tibia, over to me who name be a dead disse with your bema. If you bema the organs na deje mu but if you don't do be baby mu anko yi certain aberrations because so anko yi but at least what you see is what you record me come in mamenkyerɛ 2 words bi ase
okay
baako ɛyɛ sexual orientation ɛna deɛ etia hɔ no ɛyɛ gender identity sɛ yɛka sexual orientation a ɛyɛ na most of the time no yɛpɛ sɛ yɛkyerɛ saa romantic emotional psychological attraction sa attraction say me hu osumasi yi a ana obintin yi a na matenka akodi nkyɛn saa attraction no ɛna ɛta from sexual orientation in fact scientists actually say na typically no deɛ ni yɛ ni bebree typically na wobɛnya bɛyɛ 3 of them but nansa ebi bɛka ho sɛ yɛ kan yi a yɛwɔ obi a ɔyɛ attracted to the opposite certain men attracted to women ebi fɛ na androphilic kyɛ sɛ ɔbɛrima ɔno no onya atenka ɛma ɔbaa ɛna oyi yɛ no firi hɔ nom a yɛwɔ nkurɔfoɔ bi nso a deɛ yɛ nyinaa anim sɛ ɔno deɛ ɔsɛ ɔbɛrima ɔno no ɔyɛ attracted to ɔbɛrima na ɔbaa nso yɛ attracted to ɔbaa. And you have the heterosexuals, you have the homosexuals, and you have the bisexuals.
Okay.
But here we anymore. Sexual orientation, and we can say why then. So there be I end up said binary way say your attraction should automatically go to Obama, and I say should automatically go to Oba. Now no across obi betumi ayɛ bisexual obi nso betumi ade na sexual orientation de ama biribi foforɔ nti bohu sɛ afei deɛ yɛde bi ka ho pansexual then intersex ne deɛ ɛka ho ahorow nyinaa nso ɛyɛ ne adeɛ no but yɛka gender identity a ɛno no yɛpɛ sɛ ɛkyerɛ sɛ yɛwɔ no doctor kan sɛ mehu sɛ woyɛ bɛrima but wo nyini no ɔsɛ daabi I feel that I'm a female.
Okay.
And you know, gender identity, if that be in psychology, gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria no a condition be a brand ya ono. And a buyer, a when you Caribbean or be 4 years, 5 years, I'll say, I don't feel like I'm a girl. I feel like I am a boy. But Nicardos, no, what the doctor assigned to him at birth, a male. But when you be 4 or 5 years, I'll say, Mommy, I feel like I'm a girl. I want to be a girl. Not just I don't know gender. That is a gender identity crisis. If you say that, and the gender identity is the feeling you have, which is different about the gender the doctor assigned to you at birth. Imagine own difference. The sexual orientation here, more of the sexual attraction, the feelings, the emotional attraction, the sexual attraction you have towards something or somebody. But the gender identity is that you are breaking off from the doctor kind of say we at birth.
At birth.
Because you feel different from what was assigned to you at birth.
At birth.
Now, before I end this part, one of the questions I ever say, what determines sexual orientation? Because in common these are two terminologies at the center of Sankomo. By acquiring sexual orientation and by acquiring gender identity. Sexual orientation say I feel sexual towards ebia asumesi. And now I say ebia wide I feel sexual towards a tree. Me who bridge in the sense is when I feel sexual towards the bridge. And now the other side,
Mami or in the Kramana.
And on the other side, they say, I feel that I'm a male, but me or buy a woman, but me to say me a bema. And he said, me feeling, me pese, me dani emu. Na me feelings, and the me peno, and no, echo. Na yet doctor can say, me yet. And in command, I can you know, so two terminologies, they are one crisis no. A baby say, how is sexual orientation determined? In other words, a DNA and a peer say, okay, you want no attraction, no, if you have sexual orientation, ain't free. Generally, I say, science believe say number one, genes any hormones a cajon. And we are all on ruby, listen in nature is a show no and no cajon. The tier being a environment. Ebia your toy. Determines your social interactions. In fact, in democracy say no, you cannot automatically say be a gender or sexual orientation is determined by genes or by hormones. If you say you say obi o hormone baby e won to ye no de ohun de na wo for e no it may influence no e ma ne an attraction. Now, the baseline is nana human behavior, a very complex one. As I said,
human being and a complex.
Aye, or a complex, or a behavior and complex. Now, 2 times be what I said it I said the walk back when the fee edimu. But when if you know determinism and the second one influence. Until I say, we got them say sexual orientation is determined. And I say sexual orientation can be influenced. They are not the same terminologies.
Sure.
You can say be determined that. A person say, me fancy be a fa A. Me see A will cause B. A can be also. A cause B. For example, so me fa the Anopheles mosquito. Or be produce if any say the we na cause malaria parasite na
ma na we nje
when we if any say ebeba enti say
to kosu ya de yi ba ya
ya ba yan koso say ono na be ma
obi be test abasisi ya
ono ma sa ekusia no o ma sa ekusia na you need anti-malaria. Now, what they a year free home.
Okay.
And when him say offer anti-malaria now, a big parasite. You can say is determined. You can say virtually no. You just say there's a causal relationship. And you can influence her. You can say just say, if you have the relationship with that A any B mono, there are other intervening variables. And other contributing factors. They want to make us say the A and a chinchiniachi, a bega B. Oh, and you know, other factors. Boom. Now, you say, want to make us say sexual orientation is determined. But the way to me, I can say sexual orientation is influenced by so many factors. And the genes come home, baby, oh, I come home. Environment na hotune mu no nipa hu say obi hefu ka ho one kasa choices so many factors influence him and is obi aka say sexual orientation is determined na there are only two things no way ba kono say e bia no nim ana ye tie bi no wa shada pa if you say nana ya ye wo or a language area in your brain. Sa language area no say you want to be bia na that language area now is working now every language there obepeke
okay
and you want me to Ghana ha e be you want me to ye no na me hu say nkrofo e ka se twi no wo ka epeke in fact me twi ka no will be influenced by one guy twa me ho hia ne said you will pronounce words say you want me to baby. They say, be English, that's how I'll speak. And you can never ignore the environment in sexual orientation. You can never ever ignore observational learning. Say, the Panashan Crawford, no Wakasa. Sometimes you should be who say, hey, the mannerism idiot. Who say, we naturally, what copy you be. What kind of human beings are complex, their behaviors are complex. The behaviors are influenced by factors. It is dangerous to say human behavior is determined by something. Whereas apa now I say, what say, idea ba kope and contributed towards a particular thing, but there are several factors in contributing towards it, and the gender, sexual orientation, and gender identity nadia, a nipano how he feels, a hano. And human emotions ne affect ebemu no enti ya woman no doctor say me bema me pagya no me say I don't feel say me bema me temen kan me nipa mu say me oba enti no mama me person fi ase dress say oba na me come anim kakra me pese wo de mbeko na yakwaye me sexual reassignment surgery na me kwaku ata
sexual reassignment ne say
sexual reassignment surgery ni say afei wonyi na wo say afei wo ye o feel say wo ye be man so feel say wo ye oba no o ma me e afemi a okay me ka say afemi a ojitum ha say oh that's fine, that's okay, it's okay, it's good to feel that way, that is your true gender. Minyaka sama pa now you said I'm effeminate na I'm feeling good about yourself. Now you to the next level and say maybe mommy I want the doctors to help me out. If he now I'm to a number now and they say in Europe no they will give you certain hormonal blockers until you be pania e be suppress the male hormones na woni peduan mu na afi die be ma emba hormones no apagya no ho na epagya no ho a oku anim kan na bia wanya osika be say afi wo ye the even sexual reassignment surgery na obe come ya da na okuku ata no ama ayakusu ekuma na wadaje mu so ehwa asesa na saa nsɛm yi a aba Ghana yɛka ho asɛm nyinaa aba LGBTQ plus QAAPP
Prime plus
no ne nyinaa no saa nneɛma mmienu yi so ɛna a lot of the debate no gyina.
Okay, Prof, let's just say nipa apart from the physical examination you be who say or sex organ ni eno na the basic primary identification me who say we your ba na be ma no the man nipa so your back or behave so ba na be ma or behave say be ma no the hormones na e woni mu no ene estrogen ne testosterone
no kwa ene de
the enema atwa ne ho ahia
relate with
omo koba na de okay enti se nipa na meti asisi na mka say prof me ambe mahu pa fe na mahu se me angasa kra meti anka menye be ma na me yoba enti no it means that omo koma me empane a ebe ma niema wo me mu se be me ma me feel se me be ma no ebe ma sa niema no agya anyini enti enya adwuma biom na afi ema de na wo mu na no ye recessive no na no no mo aba be dominant genes now.
And that's exactly what happens. And if you see do some level now, you'll be experiencing what they call gender identity crisis. It be the technical terms gender dysphoria. And one doctor say, Nanaya, we a male, you as a boy. Nanaya say maybe a be 34 years, 40 years. And they say me oba. And unyakasa uhia ubi to affirm because affirmation I just say ubi aja oh yeah, you good. That is how you feel. Follow your feelings. It's good. Not a fay ube tu and I'm say when started the treatment it takes time until you own panier near suppress way now a bit on my young man sex reassignment surgery no or be what or better suppression no a year no not for now but they been work the final instance say okay a fade a treat me my no a suppression no me my no aba a fee my menko na fee menko reassign me sexual organs na wako dane o dear doctor can say we be man no see I don't know am fee nanaya na just if you abaye den nanaya come na just say nanaya omoduku show come no sweet and if you must now walk and behave with the new identity and gender.
Is that honey agree? Okay. Now, be na watchi mienu mienza be DM say debate ye organize pa ye LGBT hwan sa omne manema na omo ye no. Meti ha yise me be me.
You.
Edien na ebe ma me maka se me yonko be ma na me pese me ne da. Ana oba ka se ne yonko ba na ne da.
Okay. Na sa question you know. Me Lirika meche the general literature and research in X-ray.
Okay.
Me can say I am standing here and talking here as a psychologist, as a minister, as a parent, and as a therapist, and as a practitioner. And some of my clinical experience not there and ankasa experience I can say we anything so with the base of Lirika. You say nature, there can be aberrations in nature. To say, now say I won't say your Siamese twins. Let me see who you are. Unyamebo adi no, and now I'm the various forearms I make kasa on as a minister. Unyamebo adi no, Genesis 1:26. I believe say unyamenebo nipa. I don't subscribe to evolution. Tinyamebo ade no obo ba ne be ma o say male and female created he them. All right, verse 26 of chapter 1 o say now the Lord blessed them and said be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. Now adibo no onyame ehye say Adam ohun say oye alone no he didn't create another Adam. Obo Oba. Nature say to solve a problem in a man's life, a male man's life, God didn't need another male man. God needed a female man. I'm using man here as generic. And the sa bo nipa no. Then 26 say, and God said, be fruitful and multiply. And the next level of procreation now, ankadebo nyambebo nipa more no. That was passed on to man. And the Ubengus was saying Adam knew the wife and no way. And the yeno nipa obani bema etwa procreative way no eso. And the yeah woman maybe to me see mistakes between abem. It me wa abofra or blood disorder, sickling. So what? They are all disorders. I do.
Sure.
Yeah, sometimes there are certain autoimmune disorders. I do. Your maka Siamese twins. I do. Ubet na ubina anya cleft palate. Na it may be as when you're hole in heart. There are nature can make mistakes. That is, and I'm taking it from the timer. Nyame say mo wana mondoro no. I won moon dorimono. Mistakes can occur. And the first, Yahoo say, Ubetumi ya ubia. Ne chromosomes, ne ndondra hodo a manipa no, obeya bema, XY, bema, XX obi oba no. But obi ewo no ya akoye XXY, and now XYY. Aberrations abemu. Mistake bi abemu. Na sa mistake no one. Enti ubetumi ya ubia sa intersex na say no. Na kusu ekuma no anase ne kwakudosu no. Enko yi sa outer we no say efunsu bi akoso. In nature, just as a vinya cleft palate ne de maboso nyina no mfunsu bi akoso. Okay. Jene one. The etwima obi ka say obey say yehunu say ebi wo ha na there are certain neuroanatomical disorders and neurochemical disorders akoso and oho. Me abeka a bit about that. The TB yehunu say people go through certain challenges in life. In fact, literature actually say obi everyone study be me here. Or say or study about 1,000 in yanuma almost say LGBT men and especially homosexuals. And consistently all of them have problems with their fathers. That's quite interesting. Consistently, when you discuss it, they have serious problems with their fathers.
For a sample size of
about 1,000.
1,000.
Yes. And it really sent a message, wow, this is interesting. It means that there's something within the environment at home, between
influence factor.
Yes. Then some other studies actually say, and this is coming from a transgender beer where detransition. Now what I say, for the hundreds of transgender for LGBT community for some of them have been sexually abused. Obi o hono nipa no abuse no. Or you be obey ne pa. Ebi ya no ye ne papa. In fact, me o data be in Ghana, me be can a piece from some time ago say incest. Say a jan ne ba eda was picking up in Ghana. We publish it. People, fathers, can also sexually abuse their sons, and yet only daughters. Or the other way too. Say your father is abusing the daughter. Na enuntino wafa bema ho time nti e ma nkwa no yomeko. And as be a father abused the boy.
A mother.
Yes, a mother. No, a father can abuse a boy.
Okay.
And the boy can fall into the hands of Ubia. Now, for example, if somebody abused the boy at age 14, or abusing the you know, I don't know, or catch it, or be saying, Papa abuse no man yantum. Oh, how? Now, now, maybe the Ubenya, Temoyan, Passasa. Now, ni prano, and if you say on Pese, only be macabre related. And no share Obia, Nipan is shown a care. To Ben, oh, it's okay, don't worry. Fortunately, unfortunately for him, nipa no belonging to this community. And he overwhelmed him with a lot of care, attention, gift, and then he brought him over.
Love.
And one and he unya no. Okay, that's not me such a care and love. Me nya kore fi papa ho. This is the kind of thing I'm looking for. Okay. And he ebi actually what is happening at home, the difficult relation between Omo and your papa no, and I say Omo bad history, very serious issue of sexual abuse. Ebi no so hono manana a pure adversities, economic life adversities. Na no Ghana had the address from just on the data you could or yajuma or you school or teho or ya brantoa. Saa ni nyinaa no occur together with the strong desire to be adventurous. And remember, when adolescence is the most turbulent stage in a person's life. Some adolescent psychology believe say abofra to me cross that stage in life, he has crossed it. Because I wonder most of the time, no, challenges is packy free. And from that stage, you know, Sakrano be a challenge seriously now or experimenting around or checking the sexual orientation. Make me aware that questions are I won't be someone. Who am I? What am I living for? And in their quest to experiment and to explore, they fall into some of these things. And also, if I be a social contagion. Social contagion is say nipa mienu miensa na enum maybe awoteno. Now who say the uncle for ebu brebia. It's very easy to be influenced. Very, very easy. And also, you who say and not necessarily so a copa ebinum efa. And now send me kind of you Ghana Hanuma and Rantoania Abba, especially around the coastal areas, no, in schools. Any areas are boys, girls. Social media and ne obi Hanuma person Uremuna Odinya obi se man mileage in social media, obi young for obi se Osheno, obi se turn school fees mano, obi se and Abrabo Ekuyi, obi se to diamond. Nana me can near some of them inya from this to blow your mind. And the material aspect of the attraction Emrantewa echo into this behavior in this part of the world, and I'm putting this in context, in this part of the world cannot be ignored. In the West, a different, but yeah, in this part of the world, the material nema attraction, the social adversities and then the account attraction a huge. Because obi can't na some children say nema a man niko muna oh whatever ho. And also hopper and generally no you admit say a na of ba certain aberrations ba chromosomal aberrations neuroanatomical disorders ba, but largely most of those who decide say and who fall into this no Nana by choice. Yes. And currently, in our study, one of the things I show about one of the titles between biology and choice. In other words, the narrative no one, I am born gay and I'm born so. Now my mention be also thinking say okay. I am born gay and I'm born so. Nana, Ibikai. Human behavior is not cast in brick and stone. Onipesu, onipatenka. Enya dea obetumi aka say, said the eternal son, it didn't even son. It's not true. I was saying no. Human beings have the capacity to change. And that is one of the things that anthropologists, psychologists, ethologists, wanga is nipa su. Though human beings are complex, they choose to change. In fact, and we won't say, and on other species the ability to adapt, if you have an adaptability. Say to me adapted to an environment. To me is what we want to become. Human beings are very interesting. But then the question I know you will ask is, my prof, then why don't we change?
Is it a prof who me pa? Is it a prof who me pa? Is it because I crowd question?
Now why don't we change? The reason why we don't change that is that humans choose to change or otherwise. The power of choice for human beings, nobody should underrate it. Human beings change, but they don't change because they choose not to change.
Okay. Not because they cannot change.
No.
Okay.
Not because they cannot change. That's not true. Humans change, but they have a choice in deciding, say, Messi Anna Messi. In fact, one of the areas in human behavior and human personality or personality some consistent pattern of thinking, behavior, and feeling as a human being affected the way you relate to others, the way you talk, the way you do your things. And you much say, with guided good psychotherapy, you can alter your personality. That should tell you how serious change is for human beings. So human beings can change, but human beings choose not to change or choose to change. And then the underlying thing is that change is possible. Sir, as we buy, said we don't have to go back to the history, but even when we say the fight for Sir gay movement right in the 1900s, the power of it and the popularity, if you are say a strong power in the 50s. In fact, as at 1900, 1920s, very strong. But by 1950, now the community or professional community, I classify a crowd as a mental illness. Internet advocacy now started strongly. Say, Debbie. It cannot be. If you are community, you see a yare. Adam see a yare. Yare. Into by 73, it's been declassified. Every way say any mental illness again. Ayana subebi onipa ho a men oyana mental can say illness much. Ayana can say a behavior because obi ohonoma o hwe sa community ya obi oha bibi choice bi pa na we make ya owom yes be your pet but it's a choice. Enti eba ya pet then the next thing I will say o kan was now battle more no am I born gay or it's a choice? Now, to say you are born gay means that you are saying that there's nothing that can be done about a change. Once we can say I'm born gay, it means that there is no room for change. Mm-hmm. That is the assumption. Mm-hmm. And the whole can say, unfortunately, psychological science doesn't support that. And you know, say, Obi say, you will say, and I can't change it. In fact, one man already many when you sports from Abaye or South Africa here.
Casta Semenya.
Thank you. So yen to me and nani human behavior nane nabobre. Even at the cellular level, at the biochemical level, yen can't say uncle treat the excessive amount of testosterone. But yen say it to me yet. Yen say it to me transplanted. And the last time I saw, I think they are transplanted a penis in South Africa. They are transplanted heart, they are transplanted lungs, kidneys, face. I saw a face transplant. Face. And the medical breakthroughs are very high. Now, Obika say I am born gay, or just say one, there's nothing I can do about it. That is how it is. But unfortunately, it doesn't support psychological science. You cannot say, I am born this way. You can choose to remain that way. But what you can say, you say a woman saying there's nothing that can be done about it. And you're not correct. Now, the say the political fight it ensued in America. No, a very new believe much about a small fight. In fact, all kind of history of this thing. There were times now, disrupted conferences. All here, they were very strong in advocating. And eventually, yɛyi free books mu all other nosologies classify nyarewa nyinaa ɛyɛ firi mu ICD obi ɛyɛ firi mu various international organizations ɛyɛ firi mu say this is a normal behavior evangelical na mepɛ sɛ as nkɔmɔ na mene wodi mepɛ sɛ me take portion bi a as a psychologist and as a therapist they are made me I'm not only talking about the akacheme book amakenka no I am standing at the side bribisia de breme na netimi ba o bribisia it is the obi a medical doctor na se obi yare a na bi a onya heart attack ono na ohwe no cardiologist ono ehwe no na asemi obi ni obi nya ase na oso na akaka akoma ye oya se cardiologist gina ba oba kan say hey just now can do you know what it means to have a heart attack jama woni mo me yem ho adwuma nti oba ka oba score do now when I sit as a therapist and omo a ebi a omo a so open wa it's not palatable at all. If you say free the union or the other world the episode or the brain and advocacy it will continue to be political and advocacy will continue to so that is how it is. I don't follow them, it's advocacy. Now no the can as a tif in say Europe as a continent or Euro-America as a continent is not fully say LGBT. In fact, 2014 statistics in the US nature say just about 49% in America. And Nana says right too. So it's fine. And it tells you a lot of Americans still don't support it. Or here the geopolitical distribution of we are. So we America, Euro-America are most of them afar the continent do now. And as I woke up a bit to say Middle East. Who say Middle East so we Israel. We Israel. I'm sure this is good. So offer maybe to say US and Canada. Numbers are picky airbus or yan high. Over Europe, Spain, Germany, Czech Republic, France, Britain, Italy, Greece, Poland, Russia. Baby, one a dose of power who say, Omonin Tumpae, while Unia Putin. Russia, a even post on this. Middle East, Israel, a little bit different on this. I'm not close about 50% in Israel. But Lebanon, Turkey, Palestine, Egypt, Jordan, Tunisia, over Asia Pacific now, Australia, quite high kakra, Philippines, Japan, so it's 50 plus. South Korea, 59, almost 60% say no. China, about 57% are against it. 21% in China. Over Malaysia, Indonesia, Pakistan, South 3, no, it's over 80%. Latin America area, it also cry El Salvador, but over Bolivia, no, so about almost 50%. But over places like Argentina, Chile, Mexico, Brazil, over say adults all. And it's the only place a virgin place we Abano. South Africa, over 60% of them are against it, 32%. In South Africa, cramp, but the rest, no, Kenya, Uganda, Ghana, Senegal, Nigeria, they come in Ubrija. And the virgin place to me, Hinibrino, Africa. Now, let me say a question.
Okay, Prof.
First question is Yeni anoma ɛwɔ English man mu no sɛ wɔn hɔ koraa mpo no yɛ wɔn ngye ntom de yɛ divided kakra wɔn ngye ntom koraa sɛ wei no ɛmɛ sɛ ɛndɛ mɛnum sɛ wahwɛ wei a Hungary ɛpaase ne law no a ɔmma kwan ma wei yɛmfa nkɔm schools wɔn ɛhɔ koraa mpo ne Europe no they are divided a ɛdeɛn na ɛtaade akyi sɛ Africa say even let's assume some estimate in Ghana says 0.02%. Those are some of the estimates in Ghana, which is around about let's say 500,000-600,000. Say Sankrofui say I'm passing over her. A DNA share the West, but say can be so. Yema adi hunkwane. There are 3 things to know about sex. One is that its procreative ability is there. 2, the use of sex for enjoyment is there. But another 3, that sex can go wrong. We shouldn't forget that. So, sex procreation for pleasure, but sex can be perverted. And no, and say, it is to Nti yenu ya na question na and say a dear na apia sadi to this part of our world. And a second question is say sa adi apia no yen ha so yama kwan na yama kwan adenti and yama kwan and I just about
yo Professor Joseph Osafo edabusiafo meneno etwetwe enkomo yi na senior odi kaka at the beginning of this conversation, you know, Prof oyobia osua de ochira de oyesofo na fe osan hwe nipa o mo wate eti mu a o mo hia obi a obekasa akire o madwen amansesan aba na onna nwumre meneno etwetwe nkomo me hwese mo messages amode aba no mo asem ne ye relevant to the discussion no ayeye no mo amotro messages to ho nyina so machemo nyina okay Majid ede abase plasmodium parasite ena ne yepena ne yehu Majid why are they edo ase wabin Joseph Achan says, why are you wasting your time? Prof, me pick a question we so that me person material be can fa. Why are you wasting your time to debate this evil and barbaric act? Ghanaians are decent people and cultured, and there's no way they will allow this thing to happen on our land. Why are you wasting your time discussing it? Are we wasting time?
We are not at all. Nana say obiara ka say waste time at debate we are no correct. Hey. E nema ba mi no bio, ni mi ense bi ese krofunya entiase fa ho. One ne say sa adi ya ebe no. Enye enne ne bijai. So it's not one time we say monje monje. It's going to be a long battle, even after Sebia bail is passed, because don't forget that it used to be a criminal offense in certain settings, and then it's been declassified. And we are not wasting our time. Number 2, as I say, a man for inyantiase fadi no ye. No who the yakan wasam. No who the impact. Ne ehun samsemo eba yare ahoro meba meduo a ewo ho the impact, the dangers a ho nyina asem krofo ho na fein so no ye man krofo ti asese se obi wo sa ade mu a eno so nkire se nipa no oye bonsam oye beifo oye a devil enti yenko ne yinkuku no yenko fa sekan yenfa nkowo no san komodi nyina mu ne e kire krofo se you don't have to do that. You don't have the right. Say when who asumesi ohwe nantie no ohwe ne kasa no the way you see nam no see buni bra no ohwe oye sankrofo bi enti ma me nkona me fa duan ko bonetim emra ma ho kwasa enti ye ka ye di ye say di bitana ye di ronso e be mu a sankrofo say be careful what you say and what you do na man koma obi ankofa sekan anko wo bitima ebia now, when we say people can be effeminate, ohuna na de nyinaa te sɛ ɔyɛ saa nkurɔfoɔ no bi but ɔnyɛ bia and one year careful now confess hey na chiba ko ho me money team po and that's what we want to avoid nti kasa na ye kana no ka ho the fourth thing nti ya say kasa asem ni say and as I say no ye just abere na ye ka say oh ye ni ye te ha no this is a global village factors are influence yadeyo ewo this part of the world and in previous na and factors get to akra. There are very powerful factors pushing for certain things. And as I said, Obia Juda ho final thing ye mase. Ne who say, baby Africa jina prepri, ye jina a value crisis, cultural crisis mu. As I said, it me defend it, yang values. Ni defend the system. And the commodity. As I said, I just say I will say this uncle. Now, yeah, no crown now for the past 1-2 weeks. Bebre, abe awata omopemwa. One say it's giving them the courage to approach others. And can you know, obi come as me, we come touch on it baby. So see, Anna, a lot of compassion is also coming from the talk. I'm a bebre 8 and more. Say me pacho with me about me, pacho with me about me. Enti bamacho obi answer everywhere mama ye ni sankomo ne bebo afofo.
Okay, Prof waka me revelation bi say nipa hodo a eba aba bepe moa omo ba moa ben said dem moa saa na omo hwehwe opese ojai ana bia ne to asai nti opese o surgery etise
oh obi wo hono ma we prada da said de mo ankasa monim ebi kura aba plane abetra mo machine so akasa ebi wo honoma we pra ema wakwaje mboa ema ne ho ato obi wo honoma ade no de o fam no they abuse na on edi ho nkoma na refi say rape ekoso pa was our community nipa no empe but the oye panyin na be ma wu na owo control no ehye no enti bebre ohonoma just as it happens among heterosexuals no nana also it happens among them. Rape occurs a lot among them and obi ohonoma oba why depressed just as any other person is depressed ohiamboa and obi ohonoma ka oba no anya no reba or there's something else bonso okacho so ohiamboa o sa akwan so obetumi aboa anya obi else na oba wonchen a opese ujai but obi oha oba wonchen a for example, Ovakato say, "Bibi ehano already depressed." Once I know someone who can one can with your own him, and to obey kind of the abuano. And a bill on so now or back playing catcher say, "A feed my bread, na me pra, and me hiamboa." And you know say not to say I was say ope Dr. B Obebuano first, so we be a pra the chihuahua. Now and kind of as a therapist no also the account. The one day. Varied.
Okay. Enti Prof sisi a unuano meka se unuano mo a eze OPS professors wom lawyers wom PhD holders ahodo ye ka ho ene ye so Bob no rank fo ni bi ka ho Bob no yeah no msari area da musa akwa ene ye ko basa Bob professor Bob no rank for no e bi so sorry say my yenye mra mfanti asade we because omo ye small minority group yenya homo nya de a ombese o man yenya homo no mo ntra and why I mean say debate akoso de unia no man me phone bi aka ene ade nyina we are privy to that debate net was saying
no by 1990 in the US there were only about 13% of Nkrofo Muslim identified with this group. By 2014 it's almost hitting 50%. To be obeka say a small minority be no correct. It grows with time and year one. Number two, many anoma na or can say we no dey you're right nti engine two na obi a two consenting adults wɔpɛ sɛ wonya orgasmic sexual union na wɔgye w'ani. They are two consenting adults. Maybe say me clarify a few things here.
Okay.
The fact that obi a adult, now each of them are consenting. Just say obi oba conscious yonko. We say manage your home. We say manage your home.
Just on me no be afraid ni pim.
Obi afraid ni pim. No compulsion.
Obi anshare obi a.
Enchre said the way no. Papa. I will say yenya santi asema. The fact that people are consenting doesn't mean they are consenting about what is good. Until somebody can consent to be a criminal, they can consent to be assassins, they can consent to do anything. The right issue in homosexuality around the world media, I thought that the European Parliament, came out clear on that. It's not a right issue. Now, Ombe can clear to say, nation be reserve the right. That's why Hungary is able to come out with say, yeah, and Penoha. It's a Modibako schools. Say, what they back the context be an no, every academician be no. Made from where I sit as a psychologist. I practice in context. I'm a psychologist. May subscribe to all the principles of working as a psychologist. The fact say may association, I said this is the position of the association, which is official position. I have no problem against that. But I don't just say my context and my practice no. Not just an American. Give me an example.
Okay.
The International Association for Suicide Prevention used to believe say obi is suicide be depressed. In other words, I'm establishing a determining a causal link between depression and suicide. Say obia be depressed by obi kuno. No, you say no correct. There are people who are depressed but they didn't kill themselves. And he said, "Yeni anomo a omo take right approach no." As a psychologist, I sit at the other end. Because at the other end, bribia ebe say we ha nana eba beto menim. And he said, "Memi hu abrante wa 14 years, 16 years, 13 years, 17 years, 15 years. Na sebi nechi eseya."
Hey, uhun bi wo
na say aduma ya ache.
And it's serious, 15 years, 14 years.
Oh, 14 years na.
Na ne to asay.
Na ne chi asaya. Na obetra menim say ohiamboa. Na meme as a therapist. Make us say, oh, we dey ne right nti.
Munya no
Me nti me disclaimer say me parent. You cannot me hu the best samajuni. If is I'm working in context. Maybe anyone make abeka me say we are right nti man kwan. Na me kan say we dey to aso a. Na pay do be for just na ebe Debbie. It doesn't work like that. And practicing in context, if that is their opinion, I'm sorry, many more yajere. But if I practice in context and what I see, many statistics be 20% of EMA in Ghana for the past 1 year have attempted to kill themselves. I'm talking about youngsters from maybe age 12 to about 19 years. EMA antenna identify as LGBTQ community 2 out of 5 in the past 1 year began cutting themselves, what we call self-injurious behavior. We are battling with drug addiction in this country among young people. Now I'm speaking as a practitioner, as a researcher here. We are bullying in our schools. It's on the rise. There was some evidence to indicate say Yamarantie are a war in our schools now. Some of them have serious problems with self-esteem problems. Say you see carrying or challenge you. Sani mama boso nyina no etumi a recipe a epia obi man ne hu wura sa community from our practice as psychologists. I think strongly as psychologists say some particular billion it is the time for African scholars and for Ghanaian scholars for that matter to be assertive at least for once as a nation.
Assertive nature,
she say. As I say, Now it defended what we see as a value in our context. Value adia a boying as a mind, a boying as a nipa, human beings, human dignity within the context of Ghana and our culture. I think that this is going to test our assertiveness as a nation. Now, the wrong. No, I'm saying I did my camera. I'm saying what it very interesting.
No wonder. For Professor Joseph Osafo and Nanyumre, Meneno Etchin Como, you did the platform. Filling stations, Amukra show Munina, Yadamasi Papa, Yankopo Shiramunina, na Eneno Adaji and Niposo, and Ibraba.
When I'm saying, Kwame, last me say, dear Kwame, those who are defending LGBT really don't know the medical and psychological damage.
Okay.
Such persons suffer. The raw truth is this: that public health agencies, medical associations, mental health associations have been so politicized and are no longer being honest with the public about the health risk and crisis of such behaviors. In his book, Making Gay Okay, How Rationalizing Homosexual Behavior is Changing Everything, that's 2014, Robert R. Rayleigh explains that, and I'm quoting, rationalization of sexual misbehavior, driving the gay rights movement, mentally transforms wrong into right and is forcing universal acceptance. In other words, we all must say that the bad is good. That is what is being forced on us. And I must say, I mean, serious health consequences of this behavior. Homosexual and bisexual men, or bisexual men who have sex with men, show high rate of risky sexual behaviors, drug use, partner abuse. Promiscuity in this community is the norm and is a prime factor in the spread of disease. Serious disease is a direct outcome of these homosexual practices. MSM, men who have sex with men, are at great risk, increased risk for STDs due to their sexual practices compared to heterosexuals. Since the mid-1990s, increased rate of early syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia infection, higher rate of sexual risk behaviors have been documented disproportionately among SMS in the US. MSM comprised 77% of new infections among men in the US 2010 report shows. In Ghana, our recent data say 2 out of 5. Nana, the truth of the matter is that say, if you're a practitioner, what take the other side? Now, who emrantewa eba on chain? Ebiwo secondary school, ebiwo JHS, Nana JHS, ebiwo class 6. Now, ebiwo university. Now, what they are going through I'm telling you, you will serve your context. You will serve your context.
Professor, is a unianom no. Omo Metier, Professor Kusia Menu, Professor Kwame Kakari, Akoto Ampao. Omo say omo nia hunu bia omo say omo debate side omo nia hunu baako say kra omo. Rather omo bu afu say aden ye ayire ye ho eka hypocrite make hypocritical statements ayen as a person. Now according to omo no omo say yen de na can a hypocritical stand but omo de no na original.
Based on what?
Because omo de no it inculcates obra papa human relations among other things there may be a madasa na sitremu no to no omo ho
nana
papa
me pese me bi semi nuan mo sometimes now you wish sanka some of the sessions are winning with people like this na ka sanka for itim bi
oti wedim
now who the a 14 15 16-year-old boy girl is going through. Nana, what is there to justify about say abrantewe bia obi erepino ato obi nsema obi eyusu or you not satisfied in sexual desire? Look, we have crisis. We don't have any mental health policy for young people. It's absent. Now, sometimes I wonder whether argument and discussion here, are we looking at what this is going to bring to us psychologists? Look, yen medical doctors. This idea, yen hwɛ nana ɛdeɛ na ɛwɔ hɔ sɛ maybe a meti as a therapist na mmerantewa mekɔ schools kɔyɛ program na mmerantewa bɛba me nkyɛn mekɔ community ɛkɔyɛ programs on suicide prevention na mmerantewa bɛka kyerɛ me sɛ I want to kill myself because blah 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 because madam for bi mepɛ n'asɛm paa medɔ no sɛ meyere ɔsɛ mpɛ mebio nti pɛ sɛ mekɔ me ho na memɛka sɛ ɛne right nti yɛnyaa no na ɔbɛku no ho ɔbɛnya amane ɔbɛnya problem ɔbɛnya mental problem. We have a serious issue. Any plan B policy B on youth mental health is absent.
Probably okay.
Yes, no can make a show. Obi on see youth mental health policy no. On being to America. Now I work in that area. I research on these things. It's absent. You cannot be accepting this kind of behavior, Nana. Any policy bia a protected emrante one in by. Now say you COVID by, what did you see? Suddenly, teenage pregnancy skyrocketed. Did you notice that?
Yeah, sure.
And then they see here for an atomo. I'm a emrante and I'm a benefo.
Honey.
Oh, Nana, I'm going. Emrantewa. And Maya, and getting to all across. And Anna Enyum. If you sit at where we sit, no who Yamranti no the old film. Nana, I've been working on suicide since 2008.
Suicide?
Yes. My research focused on suicide since 2008. Now, the American who am at the Ghana Mrantin and Maya Femono. Look, enter me hear me disclaimers. Nothing can convince my mind. Say, as a professional, me save me mind, me crew, me busia, my son. Say, Subaya say no man can say, oh, yeah, mama, quite na you're right. I'm in as psychologist say Mrantewa younger, they experiment. In fact, they can actually say, Nana, Omonkura no munyasa gender dysphoric, you know. Majority of them after it can start as early as 3 years, about after 6 years. Obewura by a middle teens no bebre grew out of it. And the young man in say, oh, I don't know, I come here. No. And a DNA bema yang as professionals, practitioners. You like I say, oh, yeah, mama, quite. You name the pressure on us. We don't have many psychologists. We don't. We don't have many psychiatrists. We don't. And so, you say, a particular community, they have serious mental problems. And this is not a Hankan American, it's a global knowledge. Says our community, no, they have serious mental problems. Suicide is one, self-poisoning, self-harm. More serious conditions, we here for psychologists to attend to them. Whereas in the West, they have several psychologists, several social workers, several psychiatrists. We don't have here. Oh, because no more here, now why not? Or when you're me, Anna.
I'm not a psychologist.
I'm a psychologist. No way. And the mommy Yantias say, your instructors, a group of medical doctors they were giving the figures, the raw figures of the reality. Say, oh, because what they the doctors, the pressures they will go through. Nana, under COVID, the psychologists fame Ghana no. Yanka answer answer. They fame under COVID. Nana, I'm telling you.
Psychologists.
Oh, I'm telling you. The pressure we went through, the demand. We are not gods. Enti ebusiafo says to as I did, I make me disclaimer. Where I sit as a therapist, I stand for beneficence. The Emma Uprebia Emmeto Onipanoa or yet Ghanaian no. Say Ompra no previa Namakase Yamwano. No, some discussion, part be one person become person. A serious na in Yamepa. Nana, yawo Senipano decided say necessary orientation, for example, I'm born gay and I'm born LGBT. The next point in say, is it casting brick and stone? Makasa no. Say Kasa. Say omut me done. The next one is say, so you're not quite MA Daniel Mona. Now, what do you think is the answer? Good. We don't allow. In fact, in 2017, there was a serious case in Brazil. An LGBT person approached a therapist. Say, me am I ya number 7 jai. Boame. Obuani yepe. And the Association of Psychologists in Brazil say, hey, the way idea yet. Ain't no ebetraso and a license. And I ran to the court. And I court ruling in his favor. Court ruling happy. Then the rest of the world say, hey, na de my idea, with your idea, blah blah blah. You want to be for sexual orientation change efforts. It been also a canon as conversion therapy. Historically, a choir near faso a treaty sa condition na emuyegram. Now, some were using electrical shocks.
Ish, that's a high touch.
Yes. A big crowd had to get cesarean surgery at their back, opening up their spinal vertebrae. Some of them had a naked. They used raw means to treat them. Now, when we say mental health history has always been saddled and littered with this. In fact, in the past, now you were the lobotomy. In fact, it's a way area. It be to me, I or part of the cranial part of the brain. Say, yeah, but see a treaty. They were raw means are nearly treaty. All of these things were not helping. And the part of the advocacy they bar strongly was because approaches were quite obnoxious. And almost every write-up and research if you say economists, sexual orientation change effort they don't work. Make us say American Psychological Association, American Psychiatric Association, American Association of Family Therapists. No. So position, no, it is counter to psychological principle and science. As a psychologist, human beings change. My principle on that.
Sure.
But they choose not
To change.
and they won't catch them and say, what are you trying to say? Why was the on the right? Or right to be a gay or lesbian or to be in that community. Now, Nipan say, my yard never be mempe. Obimbwamia also the member. Manenkaho. The data shows that on our trans community, or started by 834, no, if you are seeing us a gender widow, or a feminine part, or do the adolescence part, no, if you mope sexual reassignment. Or you know, and we must say between 10 to 15 years, no, now a person transition, now be a problem.
Then they open as a wakwa. Also be the transition.
Someone say, I'm not just say, if you use feelings as a basis of a change, and be a psychologist, be me be a everything said make no correct. No. Feelings, as psychologists, you know, say feelings are unreliable. Feelings. Human emotions. Or the brain and partly control emotions now. And you're very big. In fact, the rational brain is bigger than the emotive brain. But humans are emotional decision makers. And it's a who make decisions based on emotions.
Because emotion not take what?
A part unreliable.
The basis for that conclusion and maybe.
And we work with emotions. As psychologists work on emotions. And then the failure, all of a sudden, we are affirming emotions that may be problematic. There are personality disorders. Why don't we say, obey your personality disorders are kunipa, prenipa, yaman acquire because I am right. Why do we say there are personality disorders? Oh, and the beyond or lifting beyond level it is also a value crisis. We also study values. It's a value crisis. It's a clash of values between Western values and non-Western values, especially this part of the world, Africa. And the many are no more or more shamadrin dear or more shamadrin, but Mr. Omar, every professional be organ be I was say a kai say you must have cultural competence to work in your context. I work as a sociologist in psychology, me year juma. And here be woman ebe year juma in Canada, it won't work here. Because context is different. Men can say, it's say, Sa Canada, Sa into Sa no, it doesn't work like that. And to serve your context, work within context, study the context, what is happening. The you know, your command crop for coin say, oh mama coin, you need systems, health system, you need any professional offense and mental health policy be a shame of
more system no create Johnny.
Na you say you entum anyejuma. And in principle, Nana, bill near the parliament, no, I support it. Minimum say bill no mpanyifo areas bi omu a was some gusu ye ho adwuma. Nana at this stage no, it's not the final bill. Never.
Just a draft.
A draft. Yeah, ho adwuma. Portions bi ho ma
be committee na ba plenary.
It be not to say on be picking up clause by clause.
So normally on amendment as I know.
But in principle, what the bill is saying is a group of people Ghanaians are your values. Obi obeka psychologists. I'm a psychologist. Psychologists don't operate with values. Be no correct. Psychology is a cultural phenomenon. I'm telling you, Anna. Sometimes you have to say, as psychologists and psychiatrists, you develop a lot of illness. Yes, we are. Yes, in the years of no, and talk about me brain. Maybe I say classify illnesses. All we need to know, and is that we must save our context. And my repeat to you, so this is the time for Ghana to be assertive over her own values, and professionals must help in this regard.
Would you say professionals here who come as me ombeba? Knowing very well, you do be a trianaka and I be a will they come?
Nana say, be na me.
So we know the old medical has a different.
Nana, I am there are a number of professionals where they sit and where they work, and especially younger, you work. This psychocentric professionals are you working on people. Nana, so who near my nipa nefemua, obi and can't say, Sadi, mummy, yamabotre. Memma input, yes, oh, Debbie, I am all right. We shouldn't try that at all. From
baby out in Juma no who videos bia ebia be mo obohu na ne to ne kokobu ni nyina yi apie na odne say epia hye ho ne ade bi obohu na to ni nyina asai sa ne ma ne bi ya na amanfo se abrochire de na akwa ene pese ri hu amanfo e wa ha aso bia wo de wo ne sa ni pa di nhyiamu wo kira de ne ade no sa we are making a woman.
Oh, Nana. Na say my yachi. Ebi wa hapa. Ade. Ebi wa hapa. Na and what the unya bre na medical fraternity unya ba ku na obe 7 contest. It's here. Nana sabi. Kokobo a okano, bonu kokobo eso. Na so na ebi ni kokobo. Na mbese bisa. Eso broni na chi. Ebi uja na knife no. Eso no ho. And eso yenso yeji. It's not true. The sphincter muscle, anus, no, and yet it's not elastic as a vagina muscle. It's not meant for that. And it's only what will be or size maybe I will be some say first time omega some of the oil ever when he but as he continues, HIV incidence among them is very high, aren't you? Because Ubenya say you will get lacerations, cuts, and Ubenya say and one can say, oh, look, it is not true. I've worked in other countries in Africa. I've worked in Uganda. Did any idea I mean go for you? I've worked in South Africa. Nana, so my AK. And yeah, dear, you can say, baby, ne had the end to it. It's not true. The experience, interestingly, of the LGBT community across the globe, Nana, is not different of what they experience from what people experience here. So the Messiah can, for example, suicidality is very high amongst them. Mental illness is very high amongst them. HIV, the economy is very high. And promiscuity is very high amongst them. Some can have as many as about 20 multiple partners. Very high amongst them. Abuse is very high amongst them. enti mete sɛ na obi ka sɛ yɛ obi ka yɛn kɔka na obi a ɔbɔ na yiri ofie nipa no ne yɛ ɔka no if you see the abuse the rate of abuse among this community ɔrebɛhɔ it's very high as well amongst them enti mɛma obi anka sɛ homosexual orientation union no protect ɔmo ɛma ɔmo behave in a way be a better as a heterosexual it's not true. I'm not holding brief say heterosexuals angels, but the challenges heterosexual face no, one that homosexuals they face twice or thrice that, and this is there is evidence. Data why you know, and what we need to do is say, Nana, we should not be saying say because we are in a global village, the country A can be and Africans, Nana. We have been noted for these things.
Me lecture about Dr. Ponsa. I say Hanae Eurocakas.
Kakas biano.
Kakas biano maswabigu. Kakas biano maswabigu. Including cultural kakas, moral kakas. Ni nyina no masisa de babigu ati.
And I am one say ayana yen contest no. Oko mako certain countries ne nana. When I see professionals and they the rise to defend certain cultural values, wow. And it's interesting to say, oh, by a happy me, Hanoma. And professionals is to say, what is in your context? I have been a psychologist, I write my context. I take my position straight away. Because I call conference B or split, Croatia. Now, the conference now will be discussing religion and mental health. You know, it's one of the hottest area in Europe as well. Say, religion harms mental health. And now, I'm going to be a study of spirituality and religion and aging. No one say if you go to the Scandinavia and certain portions of Europe, and most of them are a more meaning crisis. But when they introduce spirituality and religion, what they are doing, certain activities, they say, be out ho, Usuanyum, on your crabby dim commonia demo who say, eh, I don't know if you say, eh, and I was contributing to the discussion. And one of them, Ibiza, say, Joseph, what's your view on this? Do you see spirituality as very important in Africa? And I'm going to say, it's not as important. It is what we eat. It's what we live by. But religion can have its excesses. Yenim say it can have its excesses. Yenim say it can lead to violence, it can lead to bigotry, idiosyncrasies, and all of those. Yenim ba. No. There is something good out of it. Say a data shows say religious persons can live 10 years extra than those who are non-religious, and this is data is established. It's there.
Wow.
And I don't know how, and it's the same thing about this part of the world. Look at Nana Asia. You see how muscular Asian culture has been. It doesn't mean it's a Western culture, but I can tell you that Asian cultures have been very muscular to the Eurocentric cultural infiltration. I generally nice if you go to India as a psychologist, one of the first things you will see, you feel bad for yourself as an African psychologist, is that Nana, Indians develop their psychology within their own context. Indians develop their own psychology within the Indian psychology is very strong.
America
I'm saying the Indian psychology.
Because idea we've been made to believe.
Now it is over some of our writers are the American psychocentric hegemony. The official position, as I stated by APA, the two APAs, is that homosexuality is normal. But that is the professional official position. As an individual professional, I have every right to take my position. And from my work that I do, says it is a danger to the health and to the mental health of our population, as our young population. Now, various government over the years, any serious action, say to and more, near safeguarding the mental health of our younger population. the last thing you do is to say yɛma kwan na obi ɛmfa ne ho sɛ ɛmmura sɛ suban mu because ɛyɛ dangerous.
nyame mmoa yɛn na yɛankɔ musu a ɛte sɛ yi mu nti prof kora no will you advise sɛ yɛn a yɛwɔ opportunity a yɛkasa fa ho a yɛdeclare stance sɛ yɛtia no yɛnkɔ so nkasa
mede ase paa didi kan no kasa no sɛ yɛngu so nka ho asɛm na yɛma ɔmafoɔ ɛnte aseɛ sɛ suban yi no ɛyɛ inimical ɛni prepare future biara ma yɛ mmeranteɛ no yɛngu so ne yɛnka
okay
na mmom bi wɔ hɔ mmom a ɛwɔ hɔ no sɛ yɛn kasa mu no yɛnhwɛ sɛ yɛnhwepe up sentiment against obi a sɛbi obi kura hunu sɛ ɔyɛ bi ebi sɛ mmara bɛtia sɛ wobɛfa aboɔ sekan akɔta obi sɛ wɔhwɛ no a na ne ade yɛ mu a wohu sɛ ɔka saa nkurɔfoɔ no ho nti no yɛnku no yɛmboro ɛhɔ no na ɛwɔ sɛ yɛhwɛ as a nation na yɛhunu sɛ nnipa no wɔ saa tebea no mu a ɛnsɛ sɛ wɔatake no you don't have the right to do that mmara no sɛ yɛkye no a at least mmara na ɛwɔ hɔ no sɛ yɛkye no sɛ ɔne obi ada naturally asɛ ne supreme court akyerɛ ase sɛ yɛampa sɛ ɔdame sɛ 20 years no mmɛkyɛ mu sɛ saa natural canology no ɛyɛ
unnatural canology
ɔma akyerɛkyɛ ase a clarify no sɛ woyɛ a ne yɛkyew a woakɔda mu saa bill no is just expanding and bringing other activities in other areas of board ama yɛtumi legislate across all of them amaka sɛ ɛno kora sɛ yɛhwɛ mu ne yɛfa nti no no nti yɛka ho asɛm no yɛnhwɛ na obi amfa abufuhyew atenkahyew ansɔre ankɔfa sɛ kan sɛ mekɔku aso masi mekɔpira wei na wei deɛ sɛ yɛka ho asɛm koraa wɔ sɛ yɛtwa mu tifi so no it's not done that way yesu ka kyerɛ maame no in John 8 sɛ wɔn a yɛpɛ wɔ akuo mu hɔ sɛ mo nyinaa kɔ asɛ me nso memu atɛn na monkɔ
wankɔyɛ bio
mankɔyɛ bɔne bio nti Jesus wants the sinners but he doesn't want them to stay in their sins nti yɛtu mmeranteɛfoɔ ne mbaayɛfo sɛ so obiara ɔwɔ sɛ suban biara mu no kae hunu sɛ you are not stuck in it ma obiara nka nkyerɛ wo sɛ sexual orientation a ɔwɔ mu no you are stuck in it ɛnyɛ nokorɛ nnɛ ɛnyɛ nokorɛ kyena the science doesn't support it wobɛtumi ayɛ ho biribi na wopɛ mmoa a sɛdeɛ yɛabɔ dawura to anammɔ bebree to anammɔ bebree some are calling mehia mmoa bi wɔ akana sika bi na ma de kɔwura mu ɔbɛ sɛ ogyae obetumi owura mu na abɛyɛ addicted a obetumi break saa addiction no nti Ghana it is time to be assertive as a nation and it is time for Ghanaian scholars say mama yɛmboa our contest na yɛn so we deserve our own cultural values to be respected as sacred values.
Professor Joseph Osafo ɔno ɛna wɔyɛ head of psychology department University of Ghana apart from so ɔkyerɛ deɛ no ɔsan ɛyɛ sɔfoɔ ɛna ɔsan ɛhwɛ boa nipa a wɔte bia sɛ yɛn mpɛ sɛ ɔmo gyae emu ɔno na nwummerɛ yi wagye berɛ akyɛkyɛ nneɛma mu ama yɛn wei ne nyinaa kora deɛ ne introduction kɛkɛ no nneɛma na watwerɛ no nyinaa ne overview ɛna wɔde ama yɛn no menim sɛ berɛ bɛbɛ n'anim a yɛn no bɛsan abɔ nkɔmmɔ biom a yɛkɔ into details no yɛpɛ sɛ mohu saa adeɛ wei na nkɔfoɔ sosɔ so no bɔne a ɛyɛ ɛne sɛ ne yɛsi di nipa wuo so that ɔkyena wo ka na wo sɛ wo kasa from an informed position ɛnyɛ ill-informed position awusafoɔ ha na megyina mu nyinaa nan mu
Also, my question to this wonderful discussion is that why won't the Western economies help push industrialization in Africa, since it is our right to live well and healthy, but ignore that and rather push this LGBTQ whatever? If I know, Amos.
Amos, so they say simple because on push industrialization agenda no bar and benefit no. Imagine say yen cocoa, yen timber. Yem bauxite, diamond, ye be bia. Na ye sisi say the ya industrialized nation. Tisani yama we inko bioma or no onya sa raw material na. Obe un pressure ba kono so. Enti no onye oba un hu sa kwan no. En westi na no riane kwan. Kwasi broni onche 1 cedi wabra onya 10 cedis wo ho. Enti oni broni di agora aya hwe ni ye. Broni ncha de basa basa sa. Dabi nya ho na ene fe oncha de sa. Ntiyefo mijamu nyina na mu na mada Professor Joseph Osafo ase da nase papa se ene wonya ye ho adaje ma yatanse anundu apa hosima edunum. Mijama na mu so ada Isaac Odro, Patricia Sefa Fisher, Elizabeth Jean, Emmanuel Etiemo, Samuel Apia, and a Prince Balfour Asamoah. Your friend Nana Yaokesi, Ubitimi Afremi the Cardinal. And then so ha and a brave my quine, Emma Yedemu SC. The Radasum J. Jamunina, the Pacho Husi, and one Quanko Toma Nibia. Macro.